Hello, everyone. I hope and pray that you're doing well. On Monday, Frederick Buechner died at the age of 96. On my on my shelves behind me, are a gazillion books. I'll grant you that. But interestingly, 14 of them here, 14 books here in my office were written by Frederick Buechner. And one Sunday, somebody came up to me after the worship service and said, "Pastor Joel, who is this Frederick Buechner guy you keep quoting?" And Frederick Buechner was an American. He was a writer, a novelist, a poet, an autobiographer, an essayist, a preacher, theologian. He was ordained as a Presbyterian minister, and he actually authored 39 books. So my 14 are barely a third of all of the books that he's written. I have a lot of friends, some of you, a lot of fellow pastors who've really appreciated Buechner's writings over the years, and in part because his writing was fresh, right? He had these gloriously clever character sketches that brought new life to sometimes overly familiar Bible stories. And he had these wonderfully luminous sermons as well. For me, his words on vocation shaped me both as a Christian and as a pastor. He wrote, "The place God calls you to is the place where your deep gladness and the world's deep hunger meet." And he had other memorable phrases. In a recent sermon, I used this one: "Doubts are the ants in the pants of faith. They keep it awake and moving." But maybe the best way to describe Buechner's writings for me is that they, informed by the scriptures, they formed me, they shaped me. And so in one of his autobiographies, of which he had at least three, in one of his autobiographies, he writes, "Our secrets are human secrets, and our trusting each other enough to share them with each other has much to do with the secret of what it means to be human." And in other places, Buechner reminds us, even the saddest things can become, once we have made peace with them, a source of wisdom and strength. And it was Buechner that invited us to pay attention to the things that bring a tear to your eye or a lump in your throat, because they are signs that the holy is drawing near. I may have even experienced that more recently at a wedding. And, he just had this way of turning phrases. You experience the extraordinary by way of the ordinary. And then I guess maybe over it all, I really appreciated his straightforward ethic. If you want to be holy, be kind. But I'm going to close with this quote, which actually faces me here at my desk in my office, and I think it helps form and inform me as a preacher. Buechner writes, "Let the preacher tell the truth. Let him make audible the silence of the news of the world with the sound turned off, so that in the silence we can hear the tragic truth of the gospel, which is that the world where God is absent is a dark and echoing emptiness, and the comic truth of the gospel, which is that it is into the depths of his absence that God makes himself present in such unlikely ways and to such unlikely people that old Sarah and Abraham, and maybe when the time comes even Pilate and Job and Lear and Henry Ward Beecher and you and I laugh till the tears run down our cheeks. And finally, let him preach this overwhelming of tragedy by comedy, of darkness by light, of the ordinary by the extraordinary, as the tale that is too good not to be true, because to dismiss it as untrue is to dismiss along with it that catch of the breath, that beat and lifting of the heart near to or even accompanied by tears, which I believe is the deepest intuition of truth that we have." And so, like others we know and love, may Frederick Buechner rest in peace and rise in glory. And may the peace of Christ be with you all.